Our final speaker today is David Levitt. And if... Where are you at, Dave? Ah, there he is. He keeps changing. He took his coat off. Come on up. Dave was my counselor in the bishopric when I was in the bishop. When I was a bishop. And we made a lot of trips out to Scenic when it was just a dirt road out there, and we made many a midnight run. We even found some people that were hiding out there, the gardeners, and a few other people. But there was a lady whose husband had passed away, and I'd been out to visit her a couple of times, and it was pitch black when we got there, but she had these big dogs. And as soon as you pulled up, man, them dogs just come heading for that fence and barking and dancing around. And I'd been in there many a times, and so, you know, I knew that they didn't bite. But I don't think David did. I think that was his first trip there. And anyway, we got there and got up to the gate, and I said, David, I'll open this gate, and you run that way, and them dogs will chase you, and then I'll run to the trailer and get some help. And I said, I don't think they can eat you all before I get some help out there to stop them dogs. And he kind of looked at me, and anyway, I laughed and we went in. But he was a great counselor, and I have many times thought of him and the great work that he helped me with. And I appreciate him accepting this assignment to speak for us today. And we'll turn the time over to Dave.
You know, dogs scare fat people when they're with anybody else, because, you know, the dog looks at that and makes a choice. The fat guy can run slower, and there's more to eat once you catch him, so, you know, they tend to scare fat people. I'd like to start out with just some nuts and bolts here, if I could, and read you just a little bit of this. I read it at home, and it took me just about 6 minutes, and then I'll continue on. If you don't have a copy of this, you need to go find one. This is a history written by Vinnie Levitt, and it covers just about everything. I think a lot of us here probably have it. Most of us might, but if you don't, do what you can to get one. And I'm just going to read a little bit that applies to what we're talking about here today. On Friday, January 5th, 1877, the group traveled 13 miles to the Mesquite Flats. Here they camped overnight. This had placed them on the river near the present-day Arvada Ranch at Jimmy Hughes, just below the Oasis Golf Course, just over the Arizona border. Early on the morning of Saturday, January 6th, 1877, they moved about 4 miles down the river and crossed over to the south side and put up a board shanty and called the place Bunkerville. When the settlers put up the lumber shanty on the hill that first day, they also constructed a long wooden table. It was necessary to take turns eating meals, and the older boys took their turn after the older men were served. The women and girls who had come on this first group did the cooking and washing and mending and other tasks of the pioneer family. The Bunkerville name was used. Actually, there's a quote in here from... The lumber shanty had various uses. It was a storeroom, a schoolroom, a meeting room, etc. The long wooden eating table was set under the bowery of poles with a brush and willow roof. A particular bowery was placed fairly close to the wooden shanty. One of the younger girls, Callista Bunker, would stand by the cooking area and watch for the men to come to meals when she sounded the dinner bell. The bowery shanty area soon became known as Callista's Lookout. That's where we're sitting right now. Martin Allen Bunker, son of Edward Bunker Sr. and Mary Matheson McQuarrie, Bunker records in his journal a description of the settlement hill, often called Settler's Point. And this particular group came the following summer. We arrived at the flat on a blistering hot day. And they called it the flat because since Bunkerville was not yet born, the camp was located on a low hill overlooking the valley and the Virgin River. To reach the top, they built a short dugway and then up a draw to the camp. This draw, they built a cellar wall out of boulders. That's the cellar walls that you're looking at when you look inside of this little enclosure right here. They built a cellar, walled it with boulders, and covered it with willows and dirt, and living quarters were made of rough lumber and served as a bedroom for the older folks. On the north was a brush shed and served as the dining room. That's about where you're all sitting right now. On the west were some built-in bunks for the girls, and the boys slept on the ground wherever they chose to locate. Nice to have a choice. Right here began an experience that proved rich in roughness, and it was here that my mother proved her worth in a situation that was well nigh intolerable. Extreme heat, bad water, mosquitoes, millions of flies would have turned a less valiant soul to decay and dust. The young boys of the group were given various duties. They were to herd cattle and horses, fill the water barrels, and other chores. Taking care of the cattle and horses was an extremely important duty. Settlers not been able to bring feed with them. Livestock were required to graze because there were no fenced fields. The livestock had to be watched day and night. Loss of horses, either wandering off or to the Indians, was an extreme loss. Late in the afternoon, now listen to this. How long do you think it'd take any of us to walk top of Flat Top Mesa over there from right here? I hope I never have to find out, but listen to this. Late in the afternoon, the boys assigned to herd the horses would take them across the river and up on the top of the mesa. They called the mesa Flat Top Mesa, and Flat Top is like an island in the desert. There are only one or two ways to gain access to the top due to a cliff running completely around the mesa, and you can see it from here. The horses were unable to wander off. The grass was plentiful, although there was no water. So early in the morning, the boys would go back to the mesa to fetch the horses. After feeding all night but not being able to drink, the horses would generally wait for the boys at the gate, guarding the only access on or off the mesa. Boys then would drive them to the river where they would drink and then be taken across to Settler's Point, right here, where they'd be harnessed for work. That was every day. You walk them clear over there in the evening, and then every morning you go get them and bring them back. Cows were handled differently. They were allowed to graze along the river, but the herds were kept in a group. The herders kept them in a group. They were corralled in a brush and pole pen at night. They didn't have much to eat in the pens, but they were easily accessed in evening for milking. The cows spent the day grazing. There were 40 head of milk cows. Alonzo Levitt was placed in charge of these animals, and it was his responsibility, with the help of the younger boys, to milk these 40 cows every morning and every night. I don't know that I've milked a lot of cows in my life. I remember one time I went with my brother-in-law to kill a cow at one of the dairies, and once he cut the udder off, me and a couple of my buddies used to drag it around and squirt people with it. That's kind of my redneck story. If you've ever squirted someone with a detached udder, you might be a redneck. I don't know how long it takes to milk 40 cows twice, every morning and every night. But that was a job that had to be done every day.